Hello and welcome to Crypto News. Today is the 15th of July, 2026, and the top crypto news is as follows. We will start today's episode from America, heading to the banks that are still grumbling about clarity, as a broad segment of the American banking industry is urging Senate leaders to amend the yield provision for stablecoins. The American Bankers Association, the Independent Community Bankers of America, and 46 other state banking associations sent a joint letter to Senate leaders claiming that the current language regarding interest, yield, and rewards for stablecoins is too ambiguous. They argued that new amendments must prevent stablecoins from functioning as deposit substitutes rather than purely as transaction tools. And what is it that banks are afraid of? Well, obviously losing money. The banking groups noted that the current draft carries the risk of deposit flight, urging lawmakers to revise Article 404 to clarify the prohibition on interest and yields, and to help ensure that the prohibition cannot be circumvented through alternative incentive structures. So, as I have analyzed in much earlier episodes, the banks have lost sleep over this because they know that if this bill passes, many people will gradually start moving their money out of banks and into the crypto market and the DeFi space. And of course, the more crypto conquers ground in the markets, the more legislation like this will become friendly toward our market. Something no bank can stop, I should tell you. Moving on, we will head to the UK, which has introduced very positive legislation for DeFi. UK's HM Revenue and Customs confirmed that depositing crypto assets into DeFi lending protocols and liquidity pools will no longer be counted as a taxable disposal, deferring any capital gains tax until an investor makes an actual financial disposal of their underlying assets. So if I have translated this correctly, if you put your money into DeFi in the UK, you will not face any taxation. You would actually need to make a real transaction first. That is something very positive for the DeFi space. And moving into Europe, we will go and look at the digital euro, which is moving forward. The European Central Bank selected 36 payment service providers from across the European Union zone for a 12-month pilot program for its own digital euro, which is planned to launch in the second half of 2020. The final list includes very large banks such as Deutsche Bank, Revolut Bank, Tribe Technologies, and others. Let me remind you that this digital euro is expected to begin operating around 2029. First up now in our coins section, we will go to Hyperliquid, where we learned it met with people from the SEC. The top executives of Hyperliquid met today with the regulatory authorities of the SEC to help shape the on-chain rules of America. According to the official meeting memo issued by the SEC itself, participants examined the technology and market infrastructure of the Hyperliquid protocol. And these are the details we officially know at this point. This is something we view very positively because the SEC is working to understand what crypto is and how to legislate it correctly and fairly. The SEC we have now, not the old one. So, meeting with industry leaders in order to better understand what they do is, I think, the right path toward proper legislation so that the SEC can make decisions based on what it sees for itself. Moving on, we will head to Robinhood, which has pushed Ethereum down to 4th place. Robinhood surpassed Ethereum on DX volume, and it is a chain that has existed for about 2 weeks. As you can see on the 24-hour chart, Robinhood has captured 3rd place, as we mentioned on Crypto News, with $811 million in volume. Ethereum has fallen to 4th place with $652 million in volume. And as for the Robinhood chain, I should tell you it managed to reach as high as $893 million in DX volume. Let me mention that, as we have said again on Crypto News, a very big narrative on Robinhood chain at this time is meme coins. Take Cascade, for example, which managed to do 4,000%, trending at $200 million in market cap As you can see, one of the main reasons is that the whole market has embraced it. This particular meme coin has been listed on Hyperliquid with 3 times leverage. It has been listed on various DEX platforms on Solana no less. And generally this particular meme coin and the broader meme coin market on Hyperliquid is very much in fashion. These are things we told you about on Crypto News 5 days ago already. For the last note of our day, I want to go to someone for whom I think the word lucky is too small a word to describe them. We will go to a Bitcoin miner who, with a small machine costing about $150, which you can find even cheaper, managed to earn $200,000. We are talking about a buy-tax machine, which are hobby type small machines that you can use to mine Bitcoin, like the one you can see on your screens. Such a machine, as we said, costs $150 or even less and produces a hash rate of about 1 terahash per second, meaning nothing. Nevertheless, mathematically, if you set this little machine to mine, you might manage to mine a block on Bitcoin. And this person did exactly that and received $200,000. I call it a hobby machine because it produces 1 terahash. If we put it next to real miners like the Antminer S20, which is a popular machine, that machine produces 150 terahashes, not 1. Or another machine like the Antminer S20, which produces 580 terahashes. So as you can understand, the odds of this person managing to mine an entire block on their own were extremely slim, which is why the word lucky is far too small to describe them. Moving on, let us now head to our beloved crypto market, with Bitcoin standing at $64,000 with this very nice, full-bodied candle. The reason Bitcoin rose as high as $65,000 with this candle was what I was telling you in the previous episode. Specifically, the year-over-year CPI came out and was much better than expected. It was at 4.2%. They expected 3.8%, but it came in at 3.5%. Which almost no one expected, and it is a sign that inflation may be retreating. So the Fed, specifically for this month, will likely change its plans and will not proceed with a rate hike, keeping rates steady for this month, I repeat. Let me remind you that today the PPI will also be released, which is another important indicator that will lock in the Fed's decision, and it will very likely move our market as well, depending on the number. Of course. That wraps up the top news for crypto. Today is the 15th of July, 2026. I'd like to remind you that the content you just watched is created for educational purposes only and should not be considered as investment advice, but rather as investment opinion. Please subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and feel free to comment. Take care, everyone, and have a good day.